Hello, everyone. What a good day. Let's talk about growing your own food. It is one of the most rewarding things you can do. You're not relying on the grocery store. You know what you're growing is healthy. You know where it came from. You know what was put on it. You're not feeding yourself the pesticides and the poisons that come with the food in grocery stores. Can you even call it food? It doesn't even taste good most of the time. Um, But let's go over some of the beginning steps you can do to start growing your own food because I know it's not second nature to everyone. We've grown so distant from the ground and feeding ourselves that um, it's not second nature. We need help. And that's what this is for. It's to help you feel comfortable growing your own food so you can get away from the over-processed crap we've been given and told is nutritious when it's anything but. So, um, you're not alone in thinking that we should be growing our own food. Um, it's a growing industry, and everyone feels like they need to take these actions to become healthier people. We're starting to feel it in our bodies that the way we've been living is not the way to keep living. So we just need to get back into it. And it's good for the whole family, especially kids. It's a good way to make them try new vegetables and actually eat healthy food instead of processed food and candy. You can plant the peas and be like, we're going to grow peas. They're going to be so tasty. You can set it up for your kid to expect that tasty meal at the end. And then they get to watch it go through this whole process of planting the seed, growing the seedling. Sometimes you're transplanting it if you have to plant it inside, taking care of it, and then finally getting to harvest and enjoy it. And in those good years, having a bounty that you can preserve and have some for later to come. So it just has the ability to teach children a lot if that's part of what you're going for as well. Um, so when it comes to planning your first garden, the most important thing is the sun. That's the biggest nutrient for plants and vegetables. So make sure that we know where the sun is, where the shade is, and plan our garden accordingly. Fruits and vegetables generally like 7 to 8 hours of sunlight a day. Now, there are a lot of the leafy greens and root crops that actually tolerate some shade and maybe only need 4 to 6 hours of sun. So, but anyways, watch the sun to plan where you want to put your stuff. And then you have to decide what type of garden you want. Are you going to do an in-ground garden or raised bed, or do you not have enough space for either? You're just on a patio or a balcony and you want to grow your own food. You can put it in a container and a pot and just start small. Once you start, you're going to get to where you want to be. Now, a raised bed is my favorite. It's the easiest to control the dirt you're working with, drainage. A lot of people don't live in fertile soil. It could be sandy, it could be clay. So when you put a raised bed in, you get control over the dirt you're using. So let's say you put in a little raised bed. What do you put in there? A 4x8 can feed you way more than you think. You can put strawberries along the edge. You can put carrots, lettuce, radishes in front. Then you can do a couple rows of beans, and finally some tomatoes in the back. And that keeps it so the tomatoes aren't shading everything else. You're kind of going in from shortest to tallest, with the tallest in the back, so it's not shading the rest. Um, Once you have your garden and you've planted it and you decide what you're going to grow, you need to get the soil appropriate. So that's what I said about the raised bed. Sometimes it's best to just start with dirt that you bring in. Other times, if you're going to do an in-ground garden, you should collect a sample of your soil and test it first. If your soil is too much clay or too much sand, the best way to fix it is organic matter. And the nice thing is organic matter fixes sandy or clay soil. So the biggest thing is just knowing which nutrients you may or may not need. But if your soil's too sandy or too much clay, it probably just needs some organic matter. So that can be compost, that can be composted manure, that can be leaves, it can be worm casings. All of those will improve the soil. So, what do you want to plant first is next. And you can do that one of two ways: seeds or buying plants. Seeds are going to be way cheaper, plants are going to be way faster and more success. I recommend a hybrid approach. Plant the easy ones, buy the hard ones is kind of what I do. So like your easy vegetables like radishes, carrots, lettuce, the things that grow no problem, just plant those. Same thing with green beans. Those just grow, plant them. Tomatoes, that takes a lot of time. They grow pretty slow in the beginning. Same thing with peppers. So those, it could make more sense to purchase started plants. If you're going to grow your own, you can also grow those inside, but you got to start the tomatoes and the peppers about 6 to 8 weeks before you actually want to plant them in the ground. So that's where these seed starting trays come in handy. Once you get the things in the ground, then comes the daily maintenance. So that's just watering, making sure the soil's moist but not wet. So stick your finger in, and if it comes out dry, you need to water it. If it comes out damp, it's probably good. You can wait till tomorrow. If it's wet, don't turn the hose on. The next thing is just weed while you're sitting there watering. Don't make weeding a weekend task that takes up your whole day. That's not fun. That turns this hobby of growing your own food into a chore. So make it just part of the daily rhythm while you're out there watering it, just taking a break from screens, getting out with nature. Pull a couple weeds too. You're out there watering already. You do that, and next thing you know, you don't have a day spent weeding. Your garden's just weed free. Pests, you're kind of doing the same thing, just checking continuously. And then when we go back up to that box here, it didn't end up in the diagram, but you can plant some marigolds on the edge, put some dill in there as well. And those types of things the dill will bring in the good insects like ladybugs and lacewings, and the marigolds will keep out bad insects. You can also plant some nasturtiums, and those will draw aphids into those to help protect your plant. So some integrated gardening is a very good way to organically manage pests, but you're going to notice those pests kind of as you're just out there daily doing your rhythm. So yeah, when you're weeding, check for the pests as well. Then the last thing is fertilizing. So some plants like tomatoes, peppers, squash, corn, they take a lot out of the soil. So you're going to want to fertilize maybe 2 months, month and a half, 2 months after planting them. You're going to want to start fertilizing them just so that way they can produce a crop that's vigorous. Then the last thing is getting to enjoy your bounty. This is the most rewarding part. You've put in all that effort, and now you get to see the reward, and not just see it, taste it. And it's undoubtedly better than anything from the store. Even if it were to be the exact same taste, you're still going to enjoy eating what you grew more than what was at the store. So I hope this inspires you to put your own garden in, and I hope it gives you the confidence you need that you can grow your own food. There will be lessons learned, but that's part of gaining knowledge. Learn the lessons and grow it better next year. I hope you all have a good day.